Maryland voters are casting their ballots in the state's primary elections today.
Democratic and Republican candidates are battling for seats in the Senate, the House of Representatives, and governor. In the gubernatorial field, Trump-endorsed candidate Dan Cox is facing off against Governor Larry Hogan's hand-picked successor, Kelly Schultz, for the Republican nomination. Schultz is vying to be Maryland's first female governor. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen is expected to win his primary and face off against one of 10 Republicans. The one House race in Maryland has former Democratic Representative Donna Edwards looking to get back into Congress. She is battling against former county prosecutor Glenn Ivey for the Democratic nomination.
CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns joins us now for more on all of this. Hi, Caitlin. Great to see you. So let's start with the governor's race. Former President Trump is encouraging voters to vote for candidate Dan Cox over Kelly Schultz, who he accused of being a Republican in name only, Rhino, right? Why is the former president rallying against the governor and his hand-chosen successor? And is Mr. Trump's endorsement influential enough to win Cox the nomination?
Yeah, Tanya, really no love lost between Larry Hogan and Donald Trump. And it's kind of a proxy war between the two. And we've seen this in primaries across the country where Donald Trump endorses one candidate and another Republican, either a governor or official who has his own presidential ambitions, is endorsing on the other side. So what's interesting about Maryland, it's a blue state, but Larry Hogan is a Republican governor. He's served 2 terms and is term limited, so can't run again. But he's very popular, and he's gotten some crossover support from Democrats in the past, and he's been praised in the state for his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and some other items. So he has endorsed Schultz, who served in his cabinet, and he is hoping that she succeeds in today's primary, where Donald Trump has endorsed Cox, who has shared his unfounded claims about election fraud, who actually tweeted on the day of the insurrection that Mike Pence was a traitor. So that kind of shows where he is on the political spectrum. And what's so fascinating about this primary is that Democrats are getting involved in the Republican primary. You have Democrats spending money to boost up Cox, that Trump-backed candidate, in the Republican primary because they think that he is the most vulnerable of the 2 candidates. They think that he is the most beatable of those 2 candidates. And that's something we're also seeing in races across the country. Democrats trying to meddle in Republican primaries to boost up one of those candidates that they think that they can beat. So we'll see if that strategy pays off in Maryland.
So we are seeing such a crowded field on the Democratic side in that gubernatorial race, Caitlin. What are the themes on the Democratic side in the governor's race?
Yeah, and yesterday I spent the day reporting in Baltimore, talking to some of the candidates and talking to voters. And the biggest theme, the biggest issue in this race is the issue of crime and public safety. This is something that is rising to the top of voters' concerns there. And it's an interesting dilemma, really, for Democrats, because remember, in the wake of George Floyd, there were some Democratic activists calling for, defund the police, others calling for scaling back police, also calling for reforming police departments. Then you've seen spikes in crime in cities across the country, but especially in Baltimore, the statistics are pretty jarring. And that's something that voters were telling us that they were concerned about. So Democrats have been trying to kind of figure out a way to address these issues. And candidates that we talked to said that this is a top issue for them and that they want to kind of take it head on. So it's a way that Democrats are kind of reckoning with kind of the fallout from all of this and trying to come up with some solutions that are palatable to voters. So those themes are really coming to a head in this Maryland governor's race that will be a test for how Democrats handle this issue, because as we've talked about before, this is going to be an issue nationwide in the midterms that Republicans want to put Democrats on defense on.
Yeah, we've seen even here in New York City, right, this issue of safety and crime, something that the mayor here, Eric Adams, has been asked a lot of questions about. Well, Caitlin Huey-Burns covering all angles of the Maryland contest for us. Caitlin, thank you so much.
Thank you.